Welcome to Dashcam. I'm Cam Vanderhorst, one of the co-hosts of the Camden Tubbed podcast on Hooniverse, and this is the start of a new video series that we're starting on YouTube to talk about things that maybe we didn't get to talk about during the podcast, or keep you updated on things that are going on with our project cars, or especially to talk about current events. We record the podcast on a Tuesday night, so by the time you hear it on Friday, a lot of times new information's come out, or information we had was completely out of date. So since my typical day for videos will be on Fridays, it's really going to be on me to keep you guys updated. And I'm just going to let you know right now that I'm going to be a huge disappointment. So I had a plan for what I wanted to do for my video this week, and that was going to be filming myself underneath my Mustang reattaching the tailpipe, which has fallen off for the second time. The first time being, of course, when Brad was driving it when he was in town for his bachelor party a few months back. However, I got the computer all set up, and the battery died right as I got ready to start recording, so that's that for that idea. So instead, I'm going to rant about something that kind of bothers me about the Mustang community. Well, not the entire community, but just one part of it. So something that always gets me is that people are always pointing out that the new V6 Mustangs have as much horsepower as the old V8 Mustangs like mine do. I always thought that was kind of a weird observation to make. Like, why are you using a 20-year-old car as the measuring stick for your car's performance? It seems like the same kind of people who get really excited when they read that a 2 generations old iPhone has more processing power than the computers that were used on the moon landing. Well, duh. The thing is that in the intervening 20 years, the V8 cars have gotten better. Like, a lot better. My car may only have 305 horsepower, but it's kind of a handful to drive. Meanwhile, I got a chance to drive one of the '07 GT500s when they first came out, and we all know they got a lot better than that. And my initial thought was that I could give my mom the keys to this thing and not have to worry about picking her out of the bushes. Now, I'll be the first person to tell you that I personally believe that human stupidity has no bounds, but even with that, I don't really think that anybody is genuinely surprised that the V6 cars are rapidly catching up with yesteryear's range-topping models. I just think it's a form of cognitive dissonance that V6 owners use. I mean, let's face it, Mustangs aren't particularly comfortable or economical or roomy or useful even. They don't even make a really good sports car. Kind of one of the last remaining muscle cars, so why would anybody want a 6-cylinder version? Unless you're a rental car company, of course, in which case carry on. You don't want to be picking tourists and business people out of bushes because they want to show off. But the thing about V6 owners is that they know that we know that they know that at some point in their life, things didn't work out the way they wanted it to, and they settled. One could definitely make an argument that choosing a Mustang in general is settling, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you. It's a hard car to explain to people. See, most of my friends are into sports cars, and like I said, the Mustang isn't really a particularly good sports car. You know, I once had a kid at a gas station tell me that Mustangs suck because all they do is look good and sound good and have nice stereos. And all I could think was, yeah? Why the hell are you driving what you're driving? So I guess in that regard, V6 Mustangs may fit the bill for a lot of people, except for the sounding good part. But that's never really been in the Mustang's DNA. Mustang is sort of the last hurrah of that sort of post-war American exceptionalism. But we still felt like we could take on the world. We still felt like we had a chance to prove ourselves. Of course, there's nothing really all that special about a car with a solid rear axle or a big V8 making the kind of power that a turbocharged 4-cylinder could, but for a small subset of enthusiasts, there's just something that feels right about a Mustang. Just not a V6 Mustang. I guess what I'm getting at here is that good enough isn't good enough when it comes to the Mustang. except when it is. But if you're the type of person who cares about straight line performance in your car, why would you intentionally start yourself off at a disadvantage? I guess I really didn't come to any sort of conclusion or make any points here, but I did get the differential for my RC car cleaned up, so that's something. Anyways, I appreciate you taking the time to watch and listen to my rant, and as always, be sure to tune in every Friday for a new episode of the Camden Tubbed podcast on the Hooniverse. And before I forget, good night as always.